What's good, everybody? It's your boy, K Sap, the man behind the mic of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Man, it's been a minute. Um, just wanted to come on and talk to you guys a little bit, but we're gonna set the vibes right. So you know how we do. The intro music to get it going, man. Just setting the vibes off. That's all. Positive vibes. That's all we giving is positive vibes, man. Today's discussion, man, we just gonna talk about, trying to stay in your own lane, doing what's best for you, and trying to make things work to the best of your ability in this podcast game. I get a lot of people that, DM me about, certain situations and certain things that I do and how do I, advertise my podcast, how do I market it. And I tell everybody, man, it's a lot of self-promotion. So, it's about finding your niche. I mean, and we're going to talk about it. So, stay tuned and we're going to get right into it. So it's just, positive vibes tonight, this evening. Everybody knows that, I'm the man behind the mic of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast, but it's not just me. I tell a lot of people that a lot of people don't understand when I say it's not just me. I didn't start this podcast all by myself. I mean, there's a lot of people that play the intricate part into what I'm doing. I mean, this originated from a small town in Maryland, Frederick, Maryland, and I had a group of buddies that we always used to talk sports, and that's really all we did, man. We talked sports through communications, cell phones, even sitting around talking to each other, even on back when we had the telephones, three-way conversations. So it's like we did a lot, and we just communicated, touch bases with each other. We talked about, sports. We talked about a lot of stuff, but, it's a lot of people that, don't know, there's a lot of people behind the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. These group of young men that I'm showing, they played an intricate part in starting this podcast. These are all my buddies from back home that, we sit around, talk sports. In this photo, we missing one person. But these guys, represent Simply Ball Dropping. I mean, everybody has had their input into how the show is going. We have people that, do the audio. We have people that do the videos. We have input and feedback on how we can do things different. I mean, just trying to find our niche, in this podcast game and trying to expand and trying to get things to, move forward and grow a fan base, grow an audience. So these are the guys that, drive the podcast behind the scenes that you don't see all the time. So it's like we're a big family. So Simply Ball Dropping, we try to like branch off into different things. When I first started, talking sports, was very successful at doing that. People reaching out, collaborations, doing things that, other podcasters wasn't doing at the time. And I always thought, to gain an audience, why not reach out to some of these other podcasters and, collaborate with them? I see a lot of YouTubers, they do collaborations and they feed off of each other and they gain their audience, man. And I hear a lot of people talking about, it's a lot of people out here in the industry on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, buying all their followers, which could be true. I don't know. What I'm saying? I'm not, saying that they're doing that. I'm not saying that they're not doing that. But me personally, I hear a lot of people talking about, getting your fan base organically. I've grown my fan base organically. I don't pay for nothing. You know what I'm saying? If sometimes I say to myself, my podcast is for certain people. Certain people might not want to, tune into the podcast. But I realize that my followers that I've gained are organically. I mean, I do see a lot of podcasters that have over 3, 4,000 followers, but are they really supporting that person's podcast? Are they supporting that platform? I see a lot of, things on Instagram that certain podcasters post, but there's no engagement on that post. And I'm a firm believer of when you post something, people are just looking, they not liking. But if you post a story on Instagram or Facebook, people are watching. They might not like you, but they watching. So sometimes you can't get frustrated and get down that people are not supporting you. You know, it's goes a long way saying that, if you keep throwing it in their face, something will stick. And, in this industry, it's enough for everybody to eat. When I started this podcast almost 3 years ago, I didn't know where it was going to take off to. And I've reached new heights that I never thought was possible. And, get a lot of people DMing me, you know, was saying, hey, you should do this. Why don't you come up with this? And that speaks volumes. So people are reaching out to me. So people know Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. People know that we're out there. And we're not hard to find. We're on all major platforms. And the crazy thing about it is when I started the podcast, I said, man, I got to build my brand. So why not, come up with the Simply Ball Dropping merchandise? So, I have Simply Ball Dropping merchandise. It's a lot of things that I do on the back channel that people don't understand. Like I say, I advertise my own stuff. I don't have no marketing group doing my marketing for me. I'm self promoting my own stuff with the people that's behind me. And the crazy thing about it is, like you can see, I'm rocking one of my Simply Ball Dropping t-shirts now. I got a custom made SBD chain, Simply Ball Dropping. So I market stuff on my own. And I listen to a lot of podcasters, and I listen to a lot of podcasts from people that I follow on Instagram. And I'm a firm believer when I scroll through their stuff, I like it. And also, I'll leave a comment to let them know that, hey, I saw it, I'm watching. And a lot of people DM me their shows, they DM me their YouTube channel, they DM me, their platforms that they're on, and I go and listen to a lot of podcasts. So I don't want y'all not to think that, I'm not listening to your podcast because I learn from everybody's podcast. I learn how to do different stuff and, starting to do live, videos and stuff, live broadcasts. It's a lot behind that because you got to make sure that your videos are clear. You have a lot of clarity in your videos. Your audio is there. Before I started going live, there was a lot of things that I tested on the back channel with one of my engineers um, to get the audio right, to get the visual right, because you don't want to put out a sloppy product. And I'm a firm believer of presentations half the battle. So if you got a great presentation, people are going to tune in and people are going to, want to see what you're talking about, especially if you know what you're talking about and you got good wordplay. So, building a brand from ground up, starting out, because I remember when I first started, I didn't have no followers. I didn't have nobody listening. I'm like, who am I going to reach out to? A lot of people, back in my hometown, they know I like to talk sports. So when I first started, I wouldn't mind asking them, hey, you want to participate in my podcast? I can bring you on and we can talk about a lot of stuff. We can talk about sports and we come up with topics that we want to talk about and we will record and we will put it out on the platforms. And once I got started and once I reached certain platforms where I was on Spotify, when I got to Apple, podcasts, when I got to Stitcher, Breaker, iHeartRadio, started my YouTube channel. Every major streaming platform that you can listen to a podcast, Simply Ball Dropping is on there. All you have to do is go Google us. And I heard a terminology today when I was looking at a podcast on the terminology of, are you shacking with me or are you fully committed? And when I say, are you shacking with me, that means that you might be watching the podcast, but are you subscribed to my podcast? Are you committed to my podcast? On YouTube, do you have the post notifications on? So when we do drop, you'll see that Simply Ball Dropping has dropped a new video, and you can like it, comment, and share and subscribe. So are you shacking with me or are you fully committed? I mean, ask yourself that. Are you shacking with Simply Ball Dropping? Are you fully committed? And another thing is, as much as people, like your stories and they follow your stories, it don't hurt for somebody to just like your post, share your post, or comment, or follow you. It don't cost nothing. And we talk about this all the time in the podcast game. It's not just me. It's a lot of podcasters that talk about this, and they explain to themselves, well, not explain to themselves, but they ask themselves, is you're supporting these celebrities that are already millionaires. Why not invest in time with some of these podcasters that are trying to make it, share their podcast, let them go viral? And I just posted something probably about 2 weeks ago when they had the crate challenge. As much as people share that foolishness, but when somebody has a podcast and they bring in great content to you, they don't want to share it. It's all fine and dandy. It might not be your cup of tea. That's why I always tell people at the end of my podcast, when I make a post, just tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but your friend might want to hear it. And another thing is, we got to stop this. I heard this from, I'm going to shout out Bet the House podcast, because I heard him say, we got to stop this follow for follow. The follow for follow is not going to get it, because it's a lot of people that follow you. They just there. And I call them ghost followers, because they never on your page. They never talking about nothing. They never comment. So it's like they follow you and they probably just block your content so they don't see it, but they still following you, if that makes sense. And a lot of things come to fruition because you got people that have 3,000 followers, and they'll post something and you go back and look and you be like, it's unbelievable that only 5 people like this post. Like, something's not right. Something has to give. So it's a lot of things that, I wanted to do different. It started off, we talk nothing but sports, but Simply Ball Dropping, the terminology, yeah, you see the ball logo, but Simply Ball Dropping is basically, we just downloading all the information and we giving it back to the people, and we just ball dropping. It's a terminology that one of the members, shout out to Mr. V, one of the members of the Simply Ball Dropping crew, we used to sit around, and if somebody didn't do something when they say they was going to do it, the terminology was thrown around. You dropped the ball. You just dropped the ball. So what we do, Simply Ball Dropping, is we just downloading all the information and then we just giving it back out to the people. So we just sitting around ball dropping. So it was rightfully so to have a logo of a ball. But Simply Ball Dropping is not just predicated around sports. Now, as I've grown in the podcast game, I wanted to reach a new audience. So I had to do something different. And that's when one of my sponsors brought it to my attention, to me and my wife. Is like, Man, KSAP, you've been married for a while. A lot of people look up to you and your wife's marriage. Why don't you start a marriage chronicles? So I ran that idea by my wife, and we sat down and discussed it, and we talked about it, and we came up with the Simply Ball Dropping Marriage Chronicles. So we started doing shows with couples that are married, looking to get married, relationships, people that's been in a marriage and got divorced. So I reached a whole new plateau. I reached a whole new audience. And when I reached that audience, I started gaining traction. People started coming on board, and they said, man, I like what you're doing. And people wanted to be on the Marriage Chronicles. The Marriage Chronicles is still in play, but through the pandemic and you know, the COVID protocols and stuff like that, we use the same protocols at the house. A lot of people don't want to come to the studio because of the fact that the pandemic's going on and COVID's still around, which is understandable. But we have ways of bringing people on and talking to, couples. Some people agree to come to the studio and do the live shows. Others, they're hesitant, which rightfully so. Not mad at them at all. But we'll circle back. But we branched off and we started doing the Marriage Chronicles. That was a success, and it's still a success. I mean, we haven't did a Marriage Chronicles episode in a while, but we're getting back to that. Also, once I started doing that, it's like I have a group of people that I hang around with, and we came up with this. I think we was on vacation. We was just like went to Vegas for my wife's birthday, and we came up. He's like, man, I started vlogging, but I never post my vlogs on the YouTube channel. I just started making videos of, hanging out with the group, you know, representing their SBD, merchandise. So we were just sitting around in Vegas and we were just talking about it. And we came up with the Simply Ball Dropping Roundtable Talk. So the Simply Ball Dropping Roundtable Talk is just we talking stuff that's going on, and we bring into light a lot of issues in the world, deep conversations. And I started that and got to a whole new level. I had sponsorships coming at me. I had, people, wanting to be on the show. You know, we have a lot of engagement when we go live on Friday nights. Sometimes we'll do a late night session. I know a lot of people might not be up at the time that we come on, but the videos are up on all my channels for you guys to go back and look at them. Also, I dropped the audio clips on all major platforms where you can listen to the podcast. So you're not going to miss nothing that Simply Ball Dropping is doing. So we out there. So once I started finding my niche and staying in my lane and not focusing on what everybody else was doing, just doing things to make Simply Ball Dropping successful, we started taking off. And I understand that, I post stuff, and I post stuff about my business. I post stuff about, a new episode is available. A lot of people might not like it, but that I don't get concerned about that. But it's out there. I put it out there. Maybe they looked at it, but they just didn't like it. They just didn't, post a comment. But I always tell people, as much as these people are engaged in these celebrity posts and always want to comment on a celebrity's post, these celebrities get so many comments that scroll up on their live feed that they don't see your comments. And a lot of people will tell you, a lot of these celebrities will tell you that they don't go up and read all their comments. A lot of YouTubers that are successful, people comment with them all day long, but they don't go back and look at it. They'll tell you right off, but people still do it. And it's just simple. As us podcasters in the podcast game, I mean, it's like y'all can do the same for us. I mean, there's a lot of people that do these podcasts, and you paying these people $5 and $10 to shout you out on their podcasts. And when you leave a comment and they don't read it, they tell you, if you want me to read your comment, send $5 or $10 to the Cash App, and I will post your comment. Well, Simply Ball Dropping, we don't roll that way. When we on these live sessions and people are engaged in the comment section, I post every comment that somebody, displays when we have these live roundtable talks and also on these marriage chronicles. So I just did a lot of things and I started branching off to find my niche, to stay in my own lane, to find out what works for Simply Ball Dropping. We always sit around and talk about, I don't know what it is when, certain people post things. Why come people don't engage? Why come people don't like it? Sometimes you want to get down and you say, man, all the friends that we have, and you don't get the engagement, you kind of get down. So came up with something last week, and I was telling people about the small Black businesses. I know in the height of the pandemic, a lot of people was supporting all these Black businesses. But are we really still supporting these Black businesses? And the reason why I say that is because I don't see it going around as much now that I did when the pandemic first started. So are we really still supporting these Black businesses? Because if that was the case, it's a lot of people that I look at on Instagram, small Black businesses, people that have their t-shirt shops, people that have their merchandise. A lot of people always say, well, I'm not spending $25 to $30 on a t-shirt. But they do that with Supreme. It's just a white t-shirt with red letters that say Supreme, and they paying $30. I guess it's just because of the name. But when somebody else has a product, they always want that hook me up. I mean, personally, it's happened to me. I mean, I've had, people reach out to me and say, hey, where can I get your merchandise? And I always tell them that I have a website that you can go to. The website is posted right there, www.simplyballdropping.com. Well, how do I order your merchandise? Well, go to the website. What can I Cash App you? That's okay. That's cliche. I mean, my website is out there for you to go purchase the merchandise. It's all there. So, I mean, I have my own website, but a lot of people still want to come in the back and want to do the Cash App. Nah, please just go to the website. You don't go to Fendi and tell them, can I Cash App you? It don't work that way. So that's just another thing. So it goes to show that, a lot of people, they generally are rocking with you, but some people just, I don't know. I don't know if they don't want to see you get over the mountain and get to the top. I mean, what I'm doing, everybody else can do as well. But I don't let no one man stop my show. My show must go on. Terminology we used to use back in the day, you can't change a player's game in the ninth inning. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. So it's like when I branched off talking sports, still talk sports. When I branched off to the Marriage Chronicles, I found a lane that I was successful in. When I did a roundtable talk, I found a lane that I was successful in. And it just took me to new heights. I'm on the radio every Thursday night on the block 105.com. You can catch Simply Ball Dropping there, 8 p.m. Central Time. And it's a great radio show. I mean, we on the radio. Never would have thought a kid from Frederick, Maryland, starting a podcast would reach the heights that he's reaching now. It's a lot of things that I don't even advertise. But just believe me, like I said, don't no one man stop our show. Our show goes on. And, we reaping the benefits of that. And the reason why I say that is, look at that right there. Simply Ball Dropping, Round Table Talk, Marriage Chronicles, and the Sports Podcast. Me and my wife, we do the Marriage Chronicles. The fellas, we do the Sports Podcast. My wife and I, Brandon Hunt and Sheena Hunt, we do the Round Table Talk. And we have taken this podcast platform of Simply Ball Dropping to new heights. And it's kind of rare. It's sort of rare that you see people doing the things that Simply Ball Dropping is doing. People reach out to me. I get a lot of feedback. And what they call it, fan mail. Get a lot of fan mail, but my fan mail is different. My fan mail comes through via text, via DMs, and via Facebook Messenger, things like that. Get a lot of phone calls, man. KSAP, keep doing what you're doing. And, you know, everybody that supports Simply Ball Dropping, I appreciate you. The people that are not supporting, ask yourself, are you shacking with Simply Ball Dropping, or are you committed to Simply Ball Dropping? So I have a YouTube channel. All you got to do is search Simply Ball Dropping, and we're there. All you got to do is subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and when we drop new content and new videos, you'll get the alert. I mean, it don't cost nothing to rock with your boy. I'm not asking for nothing. I'm not asking for no monetary stuff. Just asking just to like and follow the movement. It's not hard at all. And I got a lot of, production for my music. Shout out to James the Fourth. And, he does my music. He does all my, intros. Shout out to Mark McQuarrie for my voiceovers. That's a lot of people. And I want to give a major shout out to one of my sponsors, True Choice Insurance. They're one of the largest, insurance companies here in the state of Texas, man, for believing in this vision and doing the things that you're doing behind the scenes. And we have a lot of things that, we do. And the partnership is real. And, when every time I do a show, it's always brought to you by True Choice Insurance. I have other sponsors that when I do certain shows, I plug them in, but True Choice is huge. Trust me, it's huge. So, that is all positivity. And that's why I said nothing but positive vibes. And you just, you got to find your own niche. You got to find the lane that you want to be in to be successful. I mean, don't give up. I mean, a lot of people reach out to me, man. Where can I start? How can I, do a podcast? How can I do this? How can I do that? It's simple. Just invest in your time. You know what I'm saying? It's time consuming. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't understand when you're starting something like this, the hurdles you have to jump over, the obstacles you got to get through. Man, you got to start out, you got to have the equipment. You got to have the correct equipment to engineer this podcast. You got to have the microphone. So when you guys like and subscribe and comment, it's only helping my channel grow, and it's only helping me and the Simply Ball Dropping Network bring y'all the great content that we bring y'all. So it's it's an investment, but it's paying off because what I started out with, it's all coming back to me. What I had to give out of my pocket, it's all coming back to me. Full circle. And I believe in that. You look down the road and you see it's dark. But when you take them steps, it starts lightening up. And I made a lot of strides. And, the support of my wife is just, it's overwhelming. The support that she has for me doing this podcast and her participation in the podcast and focusing on her business as well, but helping me move my podcast the way she does. It's tremendous. She has her own business as well. And, we tell people that, she does her stuff. She does a lot of things, with her boho chic. Um, it's I'm gonna post her website. So her website is right there, www.bohochictexas.com. She has a website. I mean, she sells purses, earrings, jewelry, bracelets. I mean, that's the support I'm talking about. Like supporting these black businesses. You can buy from these black businesses. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't hurt. I mean, you can follow her on her Instagram channel. At Boho Chic Texas, at BOHOCHICTX. It's just a support. It's love and it's appreciated. Um, right now, we're looking to partner up with. I'll give you a little brief thing. We're about to partner up with somebody, and we're going to do a hoodie drive. For the less fortunate kids in my community. I'm gonna start giving back to my community, which my original community is back in Frederick, but I live here in Texas. So I'm gonna give back to this community here, for the less fortunate kids. As the time gets a little chilly in here, we're gonna partner up and we're gonna do a hoodie drive where I'm gonna be, giving out simply ball dropping hoodies, to the less fortunate, kids, just to have something, when it gets a little chilly. And I'm excited for that right now because that's all in the works. So the people that are looking at the podcast and want to know more about it, stay tuned, here in the local Texas area, basically in the Little Elm area in my community, posting up shop down in the front of the community. You'll see the Simply Ball dropping tent. Um, it's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be something start that's gonna even be more down the pipeline. So excited for that. Just wanted to bring that to you guys. But it's about, staying in your own lane, finding your niche, finding what you can do and what works for you. So whatever you're doing, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't let it affect you because you don't have people participating in listening to your podcast or liking your post or anything like that. But we do a lot here at Simply Ball Dropping, and we're not going to stop. Like I said, one man can't stop our show. Our show must go on. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. But I just wanted to be brief. I just wanted to, come on. I had a few things on my mind. Like I said, all the podcasters out there that's gonna listen to this or is looking at the YouTube, I appreciate you guys. And I learn a lot from everybody. I learn a lot from everybody's platform. Trust me, I get ideas from everybody. I remember probably about a year ago, I was watching the Barbie Way podcast live on her Instagram, and she was saying, and I happened to jump on her live to request to get on her live. Caught the end of it. We talked on the back channel, and we collaborated. We did a podcast together, talking about some of the issues in the podcast, about the support, and are you really supporting? Are you just really there? And that resonated with me. And we jumped on it. And we said a lot of things that a lot of people might not want to say, but we covered it. And from that, she started collaborating with a lot of her girl podcasters, and they have a successful show, Tap In Tuesdays. So when you're doing collaborations, you don't know what that leads to. So once you start doing collaborations, you get comfortable. Then collaborations become much easier. So she has a group of girls that she does Tap In Tuesdays, and it's successful. And I had the ladies of Fuck Your Podcast on, and we put on a great show. We collaborated. We put on a great show. And they have a successful show. She does her shows, Fuck You Podcast. Shout out to Stars. She does a podcast on Thursday nights, and it is hilarious. Her new co-host, he is hilarious, and their vibe together, their continuity is off the chain. And that's when I'm talking about organic stuff. They're not forcing it, it's just organically natural. And when you can, like the Bet the House podcast said, organically grow from the ground up, you'll be more successful. You don't have to come out of your pocket to buy these followers. I mean, you don't have to try to impress nobody because you got 1 million followers. Well, how did you get the 1 million followers? Did you organically grow them, or you're paying for them? You got to understand something. Did you organically grow them, or did you pay for them? And that goes back to what I said earlier. Are you shacking with me, or are you fully committed? But I appreciate you guys' time. We got a lot in store. I mean, look out for us. I mean, we rolling. And like I said, all the merchandise is available on the website. Once again, there's the website right there. So you can go, get your merchandise. And, if you want to support the movement, I would appreciate it. But it don't hurt to like, comment, and subscribe, share. Like when you come into the room on these live shows, just hit the share button. I mean, see, a lot of people share a lot of stuff on Facebook from these celebrities and stuff, but the little olds, y'all won't share. But that's either here nor there. But I just wanted to, come speak to you guys. Appreciate your time. And it's always been a pleasure giving y'all great content. And, we'll be back with the roundtable talk. We'll be back with the Marriage Chronicles. But Simply Ball Dropping, we're not going nowhere. We're here to stay. We found our niche. We found our lane. And we're going to continue to grow. So shout out to everybody that's rocking with me. Shout out to all the support. Shout out to everybody that comes into the comments. I got a group of faithful people that's always in the building. Mr. V, Chris Lee, Henry, Fred Bell, Mr. International, Megan. They're on every live episode commenting. Facebook comments come in. We post them all. And we're going to start taking things to a new level. So just continue to rock with me. Continue success on y'all's end. Continue success on my end. And we'll catch you on the next one, man. So it's going to wrap up another show of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. And we're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.